Whoa, that is why they call them whistlers. What's up Nerfers, and welcome back to my channel, where I test blasters like this one outdoors in real world conditions to bring you the results that I want to know. Today I'm taking a look at two brand new kinds of Nerf darts from the company XYL, who brought us the Unicorn Blaster. I'm very interested to see how these perform, so let's get started. Both of these dart types were kindly sent to me thanks to Monkey Mods in Malaysia. They're sold in packs of 10 for $3.15 Australian, making them 31 cents per dart. That's 3 times more expensive than the worker bamboos I'll be comparing them against. But are they better? That's what I'm gonna find out. Now, I realize that from a video it's probably fairly difficult to tell the difference between regular Nerf dart foam and EPP foam unless you've actually held it before or had Nerf Ultra before. But if I push these together, you'll notice the regular worker foam is a lot softer and squishes a lot more. That also works in reverse though. When you fire one of these, it kind of expands a little bit in the barrel, whereas these don't. The surface finish is a little bit smoother, so lower friction. And it also only has 2 bamboo rings instead of the 3 that worker darts have. This whole center part doesn't contact the barrel at all, and neither does the tip because that's slightly smaller than the foam. Taking a look at the tips on the darts, XYL have made 2 very different designs. There's a larger dome-shaped head with a large rectangular hole in the side. This is what they call the whistling dart, and you can definitely hear them whistle as they fly through the air. That rectangular cutout on either side is very effective at making it whistle. The second tip design is what XYL call the Dragon Tooth. This one's a smaller pointed dome tip with 6 channels cut into it. Both tips are made of soft rubber, quite squishy and safe to use. However, one notable difference is that the whistling tips are slightly longer, so they could potentially get stuck in tighter magazines like the ones of the Nightingale, Viper or Fire Rat. Another notable feature about the tips is that both of them are rounded rather than being flat like a worker dart. So these darts from XYL should actually be more aerodynamic and take longer to slow down when fired through the air. But I guess we'll find out when I get to testing them. At the back, you can see the foam has a hollow center to it, and although these are too solid to expand when fired like normal darts, the hole does serve the purpose for when you're gluing in the dart heads. And these have incredibly strong glue indeed. They're much harder to rip off than normal darts like the Workers or even Adventure Force. In fact, it was the foam itself that ripped first. Out of my 100 dart sample size, one of them did come with no glue on it at all, but all the rest, which were glued properly, had the strongest adhesion I've ever seen on a Nerf dart. As for how much these weigh, they're actually pretty light at around 0.85 grams for both types. 3/4 the weight of worker bamboos, so I do expect the XYLs to have a slightly higher muzzle velocity. The blaster I'll be using to test them is the Sabre Apex Prime. I've recently added a flared magwell from Foamwork Adelaide. You can find that one at the link down below if you want to get one for yourself. But now it's time for the chrono test. Alright, first up we're going to do worker bamboos as a baseline. 279, 287, 286, 301, 306, 310, 306, 309, 308, 305, 312, 317, 311, 307, 390, oh, so 290, and that's all 15. All right, XYL whistle darts. These should go a little bit faster, being lighter and lower friction. 318, 319, 317, 315, 315, 307, 316, 309, 309, 313, 301, 289, 322, 312, 318. That's all 15 of those. Now these are the same weight as the Whistlers, so I expect them to do about the same FPS. 317, 320, 312, 323, 312, 319, 317, 310, 318, 315, 315, 317, 316, 313, 317, and that's all. Gotta say, those EPP foam darts, they're a bit more consistent in velocity.
Worker Bamboo shot a high of 317, low of 279, average of 302, with a standard deviation of 11. XYL's Whistlers shot a high of 322, low of 289, average of 312, with a more consistent standard deviation of 8. And XYL's Dragon Tooth darts shot a high of 323, low of 310, average of 316, with the best standard deviation of the lot with 3. With XYL's darts being 3/4 the weight of worker ones, I was definitely expecting a higher velocity. I think a gain of only 14 FPS isn't very much. What I wasn't expecting though was the improved consistency of them, but I guess it makes sense. Lower friction would do that. So the XYLs win the chrono test, but how will they do on the maximum range test? Let's find out.
Okay, for the range test, most of the darts will probably land around here. I'll be standing against the fence over there. And once I find where the darts land, I'll stand on top of them and use this laser rangefinder to tell me the distance from the fence that I shot at. In the mag, I've alternated the darts Worker, Whistler, Dragon Tooth, so that if I do change my point of aim at all slightly, it's not going to skew the results. I'll stand against this reflective dead-end road marker, and that's what I'll point the laser rangefinder at. Here goes. Can tell which ones are the Whistlers. All right, let's go find them. You've got to be kidding. All of these darts are within about 2 meters of each other. This is the furthest of the XYLs, and we have the Workers probably about maybe 3 meters maximum this side of them. I think it's safe to just stand in the middle of this spread and tell you they went 67 meters average, because that's how close they are.
I suspect the combination of rounded, more aerodynamic tips on the XYLs, along with a stiffer and smoother type of foam, helped overcome their lower weight disadvantage. With a range test ending in a tie, there's only one more test to do, the 30-meter accuracy test.
Okay, I'm going to be shooting from this half filled with water 44-gallon drum. I don't have a shooting beanbag yet, but I think if I rest this on the flat on the top of the barrel, it'll be fairly stable. Yeah, you can see that's not really moving. We'll do the Worker Bamboos first. I don't know if I mentioned 30 meters is the usual distance I do these at, which is about 100 feet for you Americans. Hit. 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 Tiny bit lower. Hit, tiny bit higher. Hit. Pretty good grouping though. Ah, that one swung a little bit to the left. I could see the wind kind of pushing that a bit. Hit. Hit. Still say we're within about a 30 centimeter grouping though. Hit. 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 And most of those are within probably a 20 centimeter grouping. Hit. 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 That's all 15. Probably the furthest one away was 25 centimeters to the left of center. I'll confirm that on the computer back at home though. Here's the Whistler XYLs. Whoa! I could hear that. That is why they call them Whistlers. That's louder than the bloody hit on the target. Look, even if these don't end up being as accurate, I would just put a couple of these in my mag just for fun. That one went no idea where. It kind of like went up and then down and up and down. The rest were good though. Hit. 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 I think the holes that cause the whistling are causing the inaccuracy too. It's like you got to think what's causing that sound is also causing friction. That's all 15 of the whistles. Definitely not as good as the workers, but more fun than the workers. Those will keep someone's head down for sure. Now for the dragon tooth ones. Without the whistling gimmick, I expect these to be a little bit better. Whoa. Being black, I can hardly even see where they're hitting though. Hit. 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 Hit.
In red, Worker Bamboo shot a 35 centimeter spread, which is very impressive indeed. Next, in blue, XYL's Whistlers, due to one outlier that went low, gave them a 125 centimeter spread, but all of the rest of those shots landed within what I'll call a 50 centimeter spread. And in purple, XYL Dragon Tooth darts, just like Worker Bamboo's, had a 35 centimeter spread. If I move the Dragon Tooth grouping down to match the workers, you can see a bit more clearly that the groupings are pretty much identical. I even put this one out to my subscribers to vote on, and you guys called it a tie as well. However, there is one key difference between the two, and by moving the Dragon Tooth darts back to where they actually landed, do you notice they hit higher on the target? That means that with their more aerodynamic rounded tips, they keep their initial muzzle velocity for longer than the flat tip worker darts do, at least at this range. So that means they take slightly less time to reach the target. But does that mean you should actually use XYL's darts? Well, regardless of the results, the Whistlers seemed incredibly fun. They're much louder in person, and especially when fired at high velocity like this, they scream across the field and would certainly make people duck for cover. They could also make a good indicator shot at the end of a mag, until your enemies get wise to that, of course. Dragon Tooth darts perform just as accurately as worker darts, but with their rounded tips, they landed higher up on the target. And they also made it to the target slightly faster. All of the darts ended up with with the same maximum range, so there must be a point beyond 30 meters where the speed benefit diminishes. But I think the most important difference for the majority of you is going to be the price. XYL darts cost 3 times the price of worker bamboos, and they clearly aren't 3 times better. The XYLs do have incredibly strong glue, so you could theoretically get more use out of them. In practice though, the fact that their foam is black in color would flip that idea on its head, since it means you won't be finding all of them on the ground afterwards. I haven't seen any other colors of EPP foam Nerf darts yet, but even just white instead of black would be a huge improvement. So for most people, at least for now, I have to recommend sticking with worker darts. While there is a slight speed advantage to XYL darts due to their rounded tips, it's not a big enough difference to justify the higher price tag along with the lower visibility for retrieval. What I do have to wonder though is how these same darts would perform if they weren't 3/4 the weight of workers. If they were 1 gram or even 1.2 grams like worker heavies, I believe they'd have the longest range of any available Nerf dart while also having what I think would be the best accuracy out there. Even if they were just on normal foam to help keep the price down, quality round tip darts, not you ACCs, should always outperform a flat tip dart. But let me know what you think down below. That's all I have for you today. Consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing so that you don't miss future uploads. Here's 2 other videos that you might enjoy. And as always, thank you very much for watching. See ya.